We are going to be talking about rainy days. And if you're just joining me for the very first time, my name is June Anulua. And what do I do on this channel? I talk about relationship, music, tech, business, life hacks generally. Yeah, and some little skincare here and there. But I think holistically, I'm very focused on topics that have to do with healing and leading your life again, right? And so today we are going to be talking about, how to actually deal with rainy seasons. Not rainy season as in when it is pouring rain and the rain is falling and it's heavy. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the figurative way we say, oh, it's a rainy day, and what you just mean is you don't really feel so good, you don't really feel well about yourself. But you see, as simple and as figurative as that may be, there are some interesting lessons we can learn from that. So let's draw a lesson from it. So, but before I go into what I'm going to say, I'd like you to stay true to the very end because you will not get what I'm trying to say unless you stay to the very end. And don't worry, it's going to be very quick and short, right? Now, can you imagine a person who does not have a house on a rainy day, right? Most likely they are stranded, they don't have a place to stay, and they are beaten by the rain. Some of them might be fortunate enough to maybe stay underneath somebody else's roof, right? Just look for shelter somewhere while it rains. Now, for this person, there is no system, there is no structure, there is nothing at all that can help this person to navigate that rainy season. I'm going somewhere. Now, the next person can be a person who has a house, and so they can be sheltered and they can be covered when it rains. However, if they have to step out of that house when it is raining, that process of leaving their house to get to a place where, to get to wherever they are going, they will most likely be beaten by the rain, right? Even though they actually have a house that can serve as a covering. That is the second level. The third level is a person who has a house and has a car. For this person is sheltered from the rain, and if the person needs to go out, this person can come out of their house and step into their car. But here's the caveat. Between stepping out of your house and entering your car, you will still be beaten by the rain, right? But it may not be as much as, the other previous levels I've talked about. Now, there is also this other level of a person that has a house, has a car, and has an umbrella, right? So if you have to stay under your house, you're completely covered. But if you have to step out of your house and you have your umbrella, you're going to use your umbrella to cover yourself and then step into your car and drive wherever you're going. However, your umbrella provides a covering for your head. I'm sure we've all been there, times when we had to use umbrellas, but our legs are still wet because the rain is falling or the rain is even windy, right? And so the wind is blowing the rain into us despite having an umbrella. So the umbrella may not be able to completely shield us for that little period that we're exposed to the rain, but at least that's a higher level compared to the other ones I've spoken about. But there's this other level where, it's a rainy season. Remember, we're talking about rain here, right? The rain is falling, you have your house, you have your car, you have an entourage, and your house has like a covering that protects you from when you're coming out of your house to when you're getting into your vehicle. For this person, no matter how heavy it rains, nothing is going to touch them. I'm going somewhere. If you've been following my drift, you'll realize that I have talked about different levels of growth, different levels of structure that have been put in place that can prevent people from the impact of a rainy day. And you see, when I was reflecting on this in my prayer time and this was being expounded in my heart, I realized that the reason why rainy days, bad days, overwhelming days, challenging days have the impact they have on us is because we have not grown or we have not developed the right structure to protect us from its impact. So when you realize that you are going through a particular season, or you've actually been through a particular season and it's recurring and it has the same impact it has on you now, the same way it had on you then, what that means is that you've not grown, you've not created the right structure, you've not put the right things in place to ensure that when this rainy seasons right come, you're protected from the impact. And for many of us, you may be saying to yourself that, wow, okay, right? So you've been in 4 different relationships, and each time they left you or you left them, or the relationship ended, or you guys finished whatever you were doing, it had the same impact on you. You repeated the same mistakes. What that means is that the right structure, the right system was not put in place to protect you from that rain. Or could it be in your academics? Could it be in your finances? Could it be even in a relationship with a friend? Maybe not a romantic or a marital relationship now. This can apply in any way and in any form. And maybe you're listening to me right now and you're like, wow, Joan, I'm just what you just described. Well, there is a way you can actually grow. There is a way you can ensure that whatever you're going through, you are getting better. And maybe you don't even know how to even ask yourself, maybe you don't know how to even measure or evaluate your reality. This is what you can do. Ask yourself, what is the central theme of a current rainy day you're experiencing? Or maybe you're not even experiencing a rainy day right now. You know, I'm not talking about rain, right? But maybe you're experiencing some sort of difficulty, a challenge, or a personal issue or thing you're trying to navigate. So you might ask yourself, what is the central theme of that rainy day, right? So if that rainy day was depression, if it was a test of your faith, if it was betrayal from a friend, so you need to have a central theme for what you are calling your own current rainy day, or a rainy day that you've just come out of. Now ask yourself and think about it. Remember the last time you had a rainy day with that same theme that you realized. Then ask yourself, how did you handle it back then? How did you handle it now? What kind of impact did it have on you back then? And what kind of impact is it having on you now? If you realize that you've done better, you've handled it better, it did not make you feel so, I'm trying to look for the right word. The impact was not as much as what it used to be. That's a sign that you're growing. Just like the person that went from not having a house to having a house, from having a house to having a car, from having a car to having an umbrella, and then having an entourage, till you're completely protected. And so even though those things are happening around you, you're unshaken. That's some level of growth right there. And maybe you're asking me, okay, what can I do? What can I do? How can I grow? How can I be better? How can I be a person that can handle my rainy days better? The first thing, right? Okay, let me not start with the first one. Let me start with the second point. I'll leave the first for the last. The second thing, I'm not going to say the first thing yet. The second thing is have a daily dose of knowledge, especially in the areas you're seeking growth. So make it a culture, make it an habit to feed yourself with knowledge in that area. So let's say the central theme that you discovered to be your rainy day, or the rainy day that is always or almost frequent in your life. Let's say it's depression. Now you need to start gaining knowledge. You need to start equipping yourself with what you need to know. So have daily dose of knowledge in those areas. Number 2, joining events and drawing action plans after the event. I've seen a lot of people that you will find them in almost every conference, almost every event, and then you're like, after attending this kind of events and this kind of workshop or program, I mean, it's not, the result is not aligning with the supposed impact that program should have on them, right? Most of the time, what is happening is that a lot of people are just going for conferences, going for events, taking workshops, taking courses, but they are not actioning anything. They are not putting anything to action. So join events, quite all right. Take courses, do the things you need to do, but ensure that you actually action the things you've learned from those events. So the next thing is being a part of the right community. I know I've said this a lot of time, but you see, many of the things that is actually responsible for our change, right, are really simple things. And because they are so simple, they easily slip off our grip. So many of the answers to our problems are simple things in themselves, but the simplicity can make us overlook them. And then before you know it, you're repeating the same cycle of mistake, whereas it's really, really in something simple. So stop ignoring those simple things that you hear. They actually make really huge impact in our lives. So the next thing is to join communities, right? I know that I've said this a lot, but it is the truth. Join communities. Joining communities will not only help you to meet new people, it will help you have new perspectives. It will help you come out of your own world and go beyond what you know and see how things are done in other places. And then many times it also helps you to know that there are many things you struggle with that you think is unique to you, but it is not. It is not. So join communities. This is a very, very, I mean, communities that are specific to that area that you want to grow in. Very important. Important, right? And then ensure that when you do join this community or communities, you make the most of the resources that are shared there, because some of us belong to great communities, but we barely read the things that are being shared there. You barely watch the videos, you barely join the events, you barely join the meetings. That way, you cannot maximize your presence. Some of you even pay to join those communities, and you don't utilize what you paid for. Well, I'll just keep that. I'll allow you ruminate over that. The next thing is have a coach. Pay for the services of a coach and 10x your results. There are so many things that we can avoid in our lives if only we have the right voices to speak over us. And there are many things you're struggling with. There are many things that are giving you sleepless nights that 1 hour, or even 30 minutes, or even 15 minutes, or even 5 minutes, or even 2 minutes with a coach, I'm telling you, this would change the game completely. And let me give an example. Like, this is way back. This is over 15 years ago, a very, very long time ago. So I was listening to Pastor Sam Adeyemi, and there was this quote that he mentioned, right? And I wrote it down in my book. And guess what? This is a bit, I mean, this is a long time ago, so I cannot remember the entire detail. But I do know that I saw that quote, and that quote was what delivered me from something that had been disturbing me for months, if not even about a year. I read that quote, and it changed everything. Literally, a quote, and it gave me light, and I was free from that mindset that had kept me or held me captive for those years or those months, as it were. So there are many things you're crying about, you're struggling with, you feel confused about that. You just need a coach. So if you need to pay for a coach, do it. If you have a coach in your life, oh my God, you don't know how blessed you are. And if you have a coach in your life and you're not seeing the difference, then maybe you should change coaches, or maybe you should check yourself. Perhaps you are like those people who are part of communities or who even have a coach, but they are not making the most of the resources that are being shared. You go for the events, you go for the conferences, but you don't take action. You don't write down what you should do. And so you don't take action, and so the conference just comes and it just goes and you're just living your life. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. And what was the first point that I did not say first, but was actually the first point? Is actually our relationship with God. Right? One of the ways we can grow, the foundation for the growth of any life, is actually their relationship with God. And so if you have not been serious with your relationship with God, you are missing out on a lot. It's not a nice thing to say, it's not nice to hear, but it's a painful truth. If your relationship with God is not intact, you're really, really missing out on a lot of things. It is like a person that is wealthy but is still living in poverty. Your father is rich, but you're still poor. That is the easiest scenario I can use to paint what it means to actually claim to be a child of God and not have a proper relationship with God. I'm not saying religion with God, a relationship. What is a relationship? In a relationship, you talk, you communicate, you spend time with one another, you listen to one another, right? So a relationship is fueled by communication, interaction. You're spending time with each other. So it's not about following some rules and regulations. However, when you do love a person and when you're in a relationship with a person, you come to a place where you're willing and ready to actually do the things that are meaningful to them because you love them, right? So make sure you are nurturing your relationship with God. If anything has been keeping you from praying, from studying your Bible, from spending time with God, I can tell you free of charge, that thing is your worst enemy. Yeah, so you need to find a way to deal with it and go back to your first love. If you would apply these principles that I've talked about, trust me, the next rainy day you face will not have the impact it used to have on you in the past. So if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you are making the same mistake over and over, or you just feel overwhelmed with the things that are happening with life and everything, listen to this video again, watch it and just think through it again and look for ways to actually practice it. And I have several communities. I have the Heal and Lead community. You can join the Heal and Lead community. I have Lifesaver community. You can join. I have a family community. I have the one for singles. I have the one for couples. There's a free one. There's a paid one. So I have all of these communities. You can plug in if you what's the word, if you'd like to. Yeah, if you'd like to. So yeah, and I sing as well. You can listen to my songs, and this is my YouTube channel. Why have you not subscribed? I'd like you to subscribe. And one more thing, I'd like you to share this video with someone. The contents I share here can be useful to someone you know. So do me and do them a favor by sharing this with someone. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye for now.